What's shaking, nerds? Welcome back to another video, and today I've got two special things, okay? We got two special things. One, we've got new hideout shit they just released. Guys, there's a lot of hideout stuff getting released, and I want to talk all about it, but I kind of wanted to talk about it with someone else that was a veteran, even more so than me. And today we've got Rookkale. Guys, if you don't know Rookkale, he's also a streamer, an amazing friend of mine. How you doing, Rook?
Doing excellent. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, no problem. Right away when I saw this and I had the idea of kind of making kind of like a podcast talk segment about this new video, I thought about you right away. So what's your general thought process of the new video?
I think it's the timing of it is perfect. The overall momentum of the current patch cycle is definitely been dipping a little bit, so this is an excellent time, great content, and hopefully the tweet about this coming soon is soon for us and not soon for them.
Yeah, that's something I did really want to talk about, and that's like what's soon in your head? Like if someone says, "Hey, I'm going to be releasing this game soon." What's in your head that says?
I would like to think that that means sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks we're going to have a more locked in time frame. I still think we're probably looking late July, maybe more like early to mid August is kind of where I'm thinking. But
Yeah,
anything beyond that's not really soon to me.
I definitely agree. I kind of want to start just by breaking down the video. So I'm going to quickly slow it down for everyone and we'll just do some still images. So the first like second or two here is the shooting range, right? Like this is definitely, they added the shooting range to the hideout now.
Yeah, it looks absolutely great. Glad that it is now officially confirmed and we've got visual representation of it. So
What do you think they're going to be able to do in the shooting range? Like we were discussing this earlier. You're hoping it starts off with like shitty paper kind of targets and then it works its way up to like really intense, maybe computerized ones or something.
yeah, like I think it'd be great if part of the progression of building your hideout, like maybe you start with just, low end paper targets. And then eventually, as you upgrade and you have your electronics and electricity all figured out, maybe you've got moving targets on like motorized paths and things like that that could be implemented somewhere down the line. I don't know what their plan is for it, but I think the potential is there. So
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see is at least a little bit of potential. And what I like about this is also the fact that it might be able to maybe do something for recoil every once in a while. You know, they should make it so it's like 24 hours you can improve your recoil if you go do some sort of training in the shooting range.
I definitely think they need to allow for your soft skill training to happen in hideout, but maybe at like a reduced rate so that people just don't live in their hideout and never actually go into raids. Because obviously the game is about player interaction and PvP, and the less interaction that players have, the worse the game's going to be. So I'm perfectly fine if you get to level your soft skills inside the hideout, but probably at like maybe a half or a quarter rate is what it would be if you were inside an actual raid.
So we're gonna move on to the next little section. So I stopped just to let you know at second 6, and you can see that there's a lot more stuff here. So you can see that it looks like the water collectors in the top there. You also have the generator to your right. I'm not sure what this little square is to the right, but it's unlocked, but we can't see what it is. You also have a bathroom, and yeah, it's a lot of stuff in one location. I like that. And right now, everything's level 1, so everything's kind of grimy and dirty. It's not done up to the tits or anything. Do you think they're going to show a done up version of it, or are they going to let us just go at it and see it at the end?
I think we might see some last minute like Nikki leaks of some near completed like higher tier stuff, My guess on the box in the corner is like that actually shows the overall level of the hideout, and you probably have to rank up the hideout before you can rank up the individual substations.
Gotcha. There's a lot to this, and it's all top-down view, which I like because I think what it's going to be is it's easier for you to be able to enter each area if you want. You don't have to just go running around everywhere. I like this top-down feel because it is going to be first person. We all know that. No one has to worry about that. It's first person. But I like how this is kind of the way that they're just having it so you can get around there quickly. And if you just want to upgrade something really fast on the other end, it's easy and simple to do.
Absolutely. I love the, we'll call it like designer perspective. It's not really a third person perspective. It's really more of like a, you know, and they call it top down. But it really is kind of just a construction mode for the hideout. And I really hope this is the way it is in game, because it gives an overall like more immersive feeling of what you're really doing. So I love it.
So at second, let's see here. We're going to just keep going here. At second, I think it's 14, 15, 16. That's what it was. The lights go off and then it goes into, it goes into night vision mode. Why do you think this is? Why do you think it goes into night vision mode? I know we discussed this, but I'd like you to say what you thought it was.
I really feel like this is what we're going to see when either you don't have your generator running, kind of like a low power mode, or maybe you've ran out of fuel and therefore everything has turned off. So this could be kind of like a visual indicator when you first come in of, hey, something's happened. Either you've been attacked or hit, or you've ran out of resources, and everything that was maybe in production has come to a grinding halt, and you got to go out and get some more resources to get things back up and running.
What do you think they're going to use as fuel? Like we have fuel conditioner, we have propane tanks, but that's not really fuel for a generator. I'm thinking gas, right?
There's all those trucks around interchange that are definite fuel tankers. Maybe at some point in time we have to take barrels and stuff like that around to collect fuel.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're going to add fuel, and I think it's going to be like the size of propane, and it's going to be something that like when you see it, you want to carry it, but it's like mother effer. Like this is so big for my inventory. It takes up such a big slot, but you need it so bad. I kind of like that.
It's gonna have to be a full scav backpack. Like it's got to be huge. It can't be something that's a 4x2 or anything. That's got to be.
Do you think so? You think it's going to be like a 4x3 or like a something like that?
It's got to be bigger than a secure container. It has to be bigger than a secure container, in my opinion. Something that valuable as your hideout, energy source, fuel, that stuff that's going to have to be, deadly, just you have to hold on to it life and limb to keep things up and running. And I don't think that you should be allowed to just shove that in the old prison wallet and take it home with you.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to stash it in the prison wallet. That's a good call. Like it's not fun and it's not fair, and it would be more intense every time you find fuel. You're like, shit, I need this because a lot of my things run off this and I'm going to get more production, but it's 4x3. This sucks. And you know what? I don't care if it fits in a Kappa, that's fine, but a 4x3 would be fine with me.
I mean, 4x3 for size, but I think with the current restrictions they've got on the Kappa container, I don't think it would go in there, because I think it's going to be in the same category as the other things that they don't allow inside the.
Is there anything else you notice in this video? I click it again, and I went to the end here. There's a fire, so heating. I'm guessing that's where your heat source is coming from at the end there. It's next to a couch where you probably rest to heal and get hydration. Not even hydration back, just rest to heal, because hydration is probably your water source, which is your water collector. So I kind of want to talk. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking they talk about the hideout being our means for contacting the other vendors and being able to upgrade for vendors. So I'm wondering if there's going to be uh, like, is there going to be a communication center that's like radio only, two-way talkie? Is it ham radio? Like, how is that? Is that something that potentially other PMCs in the area could, intercept, overhear, things of that nature? That's going to have to take place in the hideout based off what they're saying.
Another thing I'm thinking of is I don't think you're going to have a menu anymore. I think this takes over for your menu. So I think like somewhere in here is going to be your stash. So when you want to put together a kit and everything, you have to go to a specific place in here to even get it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like right now it's just
Absolutely,
you press
yeah.
on character, right? So right now you press on character and instead that's going to be like one of these sections.
It could be that the stash is the cube. Maybe that's what the cube is representative of,
Okay.
is your stash.
Also, they said how you're going to be able to upgrade your hideout stash, which was so like right now we're EOD users. Again, if anyone doesn't know that, that's Edge of Darkness edition, right? Edge of Darkness?
Yes.
Yeah, Edge of Darkness. So we have the ultimate stash size, but you're going to be able to upgrade it so that you can get our size, but it just takes you time, which I like. I don't mind this. Some people freak out about this having the same stash size, even though we paid more money. I'm not going to complain about it at all.
No, it's perfectly fair for other people to be able to earn things that other people may have a slight advantage of at the start. It doesn't restrict my play, and it shouldn't be restrictive to them just because of financial obligations or things of that nature. So I'm perfectly fine with it.
So wherever this is, though, your hideout stash, I think that's where your character screen's going to be, is your hideout stash. That's what that's going to be. And then obviously I don't know how they would do it for like trading. Maybe it's a phone or something, like you said, like a walkie-talkie, and that's how you kind of call them.
I'm excited to see how they plan on doing that. I know at one point in time, and I don't know if this is still their goal or if it's been changed. At one point in time, the way it was discussed was that you actually had to leave your hideout, go into the world, like the raids, and go to the vendors in their locations. So each vendor would be located off of a specific map. So Prapper probably lives off the customs area, and you would have to go to customs to go visit Prapper and deal with his thugs and do your business there, and then bring the stuff back from Prapper to your hideout.
I think that's way in the future, though, right? I've got another theory.
I don't know what the timeline.
Yeah, I've got another theory, but it's going to be later on when we talk about a certain thing, and I'm going to bring that up right now with just so they also released. Not only did they release this video, you guys, if you go into their forums, they released a new hideout kind of statement about it, and we're going to hit up some bullet key points here. What's the most interesting thing they said in this whole article, you think? What's the most thing that got you excited?
There's a couple things that I already kind of mentioned. The confirmation that the shooting range in the hideout is in fact going to happen and wasn't just a working on, or in planning or whatever. It is confirmed. It is there. I do like that they touch on the soft skills being trainable in the hideout. I would like more clarification, like I said, on that maybe not being 1-to-1, maybe being half or a quarter speed, but anything that helps, something that you could do passively. I love that they're, I see in this forum post that they've made that their vision is for way more than what I think a lot of people have opened their eyes to, and I think some people may finally start catching a glimpse of that, and that's exciting.
So some of the key bullet points are, the player will be able to install elite modules and drastically improve living standards and security Accelerate skills leveling, allow producing unique items and resources, and simply add warm feeling and comfort in your home. So everything makes sense right there, except for the part of security. Like, I can't understand what they're talking about with security wise.
I mean, I know that they've said it's not going to be like Rust as far as like player raids on hideouts, but that doesn't mean that scavs or AIs couldn't potentially be looking to steal resources from your hideout. I mean, that is what they are. They are scavengers. They roam around all of Tarkov just trying to pick up whatever they can find. So maybe the security measures are to make it harder for the AI to, steal your resources while you're not there.
Yeah, I would kind of like that, right? Like, say it's just for your water collector. Maybe it's not stuff from your stash, but it should be. It could be, right? Like they say, oh, this stuff was stolen while you were gone, and it's like, some of your water collector water is gone. Maybe a couple of guns or an armor or something. That would be really unique.
I mean, I still think the biggest thing that you're going to want to protect resource wise is your fuel. You have to keep that generator running. And that seems like something that scavs would be interested in running too, because we all know that they've got those generators running 24/7 on interchange, and they love to have those things cranked. So those scavs want that fuel conditioner and gasoline.
Another thing that I really, really love about this is it says the player will need different resources, access to a variety of merchants and necessary skill levels to unlock a module installation capabilities, and the possibility for their improvement. And what I like about this is the fact that they say the player will need different resources, because there's a lot of items you come across: nails, screws, bolts, stuff that no one picks up because it's pretty much useless. And now they're going to actually mean something. I like that. I like the feeling of everything in the game having a purpose and you kind of actually wanting to grab it.
Absolutely. I've told people that have asked about various barter items or trade items that are in the game that, they're like, what's this for? And it's like, obviously they've got plans for it and we just don't know what it is. As a development company, you don't make assets and put them into the game if there's not some type of end goal for what that's going to be used for. So it'll be interesting to see what all the various things are going to be required to keep things up and running.
Another little snippet is the hideout will be integral part of the game, which will justify all out of raid processes that happen to your character, restoring health, size of stashes, access to new services of merchants, objects research, and events in the world of Escape from Tarkov. Events is really interesting. The fact that it will be integral to events that happen in the game. I don't know what that means because we have never seen an event ever. But that's really cool. Like, say something happens that it unlocks like the top part of customs now or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It would be pretty cool like that if it accessed a new part of a map. And also the part where it says access to new services of merchants. So obviously to get level 2 therapist, it's not just to do this, and this anymore. It's going to be you have to have, say, your med station at level 2 to even get her at level 2.
Yeah, having more requirements to unlock the next levels of vendors and things of that nature is going to be, I don't want to say it's adding to the trying to slow down the progression, but it definitely will add more importance to each and every raid that you do. And again, like I stated earlier, the importance of that player interaction taking place on all of the maps in every raid, and not just, oh, I'm just going to go run this map 24/7 every day because I have to go to these other maps in order to find the stuff that I need and get what I need. So those extra requirements, I think, are going to help improve maybe some of those maps that start to die off early.
Yeah, you might have to go into factory now instead of just being like, fuck factory. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because fuck factory. There's also a couple of snippets here of players improve various parameters of their characters, such as out of raid health, hydration, and energy regeneration speed. So do you think you're going to be parched when you come back? They already talked about out of raid healing. Do you think hydration is going to be another thing then? If you don't have any water in your water collection, or you don't have any in your, character select screen, you're going to be thirsty?
I think if you're logged in and your character is on, that hydration should always be something that an operator would be concerned about, whether they're in the field or they're sitting back at base. You're going to be concerned about staying hydrated. And so I don't think they're going as far as to say, if you're logged out that you got to worry about it. But I do think if you're in the game that you're going to have to pay attention to your hydration levels. I think it's going to be something that's constantly being depleted, and that you're going to have to constantly keep, refilling while you're logged into the game.
I kind of thought about it as, say you come back with 50 health and your stomach's blown out, and and you're supposed to recover all this stuff. You have to wait until you recover your health, and then after that you can recover hydration. So it's just like the opposite of in raid. In raid, it minuses every minute, and minuses like 1 or 2 ticks or 3 ticks, and then when you're in your base, it'll recover 1 or 2, 3 ticks, depending though on your water collector level. I think, if your water collector level is level 4, you're very much getting hydrated very fast.
That could be that could be an interesting way for them to do it too. I hadn't thought about it that way, but it's a very unique way for them to implement.
That's something that really is making me kind of think on everything, is because they haven't shown how out of raid healing works. Like, can we just take an AI2, slap it on somewhere, and we're good to go? Or is it like you have to actually just wait in the hideout?
They touched about this a little bit. I think one of the podcasts, either near the end of last year or the beginning of this year, and they made it sound like you will have to spend a certain amount of time using meds in the hideout to like fully regenerate all of your health, but that there might be ways to pay directly to the vendor, like, hey, I can use this IFAC, these 3 IFACs to get my health back, or I can go visit therapist and pay her, a certain amount of fee, and it gets done instantly, as opposed to sitting in the hideout for half an hour to completely regen. So that's the way they made it sound. I don't know if that's still on the table or not, but that's what they originally discussed.
So it almost is like a therapist becomes like a World of Warcraft like priest. You know what I mean? You go to the priest, all your ailments are, wiped out, and you're fully healed, but it costs a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Like, right. That RPG element that they did.
Absolutely.
I like that idea. I think it's fair. Again, it's another. I think what they have to do with the game is they have to figure out how to make us keep spending money and using resources instead of us just, stockpiling it. Because right now,
sure,
where the wipe is, everyone's just like has got all the IFACs they need, all the morphines. They've got tons of shit, and we don't really need to spend money unless we want to use full kits.
Yeah, they have to have, and here's the thing that players, we understand we need money sinks. We get it, but the money sinks need to make sense. And it's not one of those like, oh, you just have to go spend $1 million on this just because. As long as there's a reason for it, whether it's RP, I think most players are going to accept it, but I don't think it needs to be tempered in the fact that we understand for money sinks, nobody, the game starts to lose its edge when everybody has 100 million rubles. We know that. We've seen that. So the money sinks have to be there, but they've got to be legitimate money sinks. And I think this is one.
The last thing is Recon Center improvements provide new opportunities of working with merchants and playing as scavs and much more. So with this, I had an idea where you're talking about like it says playing as scavs, but in my head I thought it was as scavs because when you said, say you walkie-talkie Prapper, say you buy something from Prapper, he's not obviously in your hideout, so for him to send you the goods, it's going to take a few minutes. So say you improve this, then you know the scav that's sending it to you, instead of it taking 5 minutes, it takes 1 minute. I thought that would be kind of a neat idea, right? Think of it as like something like when you're buying something, it's obviously not next to you, so it takes a while for the items to come into your hideout for you.
That could be another perspective that I think not many people have thought about, and it's just because of the way the game is currently set up. When we go in as a scav, we're thinking that that's us, and in a lot of ways it is. But what if the recon center, what if the lore perspective of this is we as the PMC are hiring out the scav to go into the raid and bring us out certain resources. And as your recon center improves, you get access to better scav kits. So in the beginning, you're going to get that, you're going to get the Taz scav or the pistol scav is available to you. But then as you get to like level 2, now you get maybe shotgun and Vepr scavs, so on and so forth. And that's the scav mercenary that the PMC is hiring to go run a raid to bring back additional resources.
That's exactly what I was going to say too, actually, is I don't think it's going to be like on the screen of like, do you want to hire this guy, or this guy? And it'll show their loadout. What I think it's going to be is, say the recon center has 4 levels. It's like to hire a level 1 scav, it's going to be 500 rubles. To hire a level 2, it's going to be 1,000 rubles. To hire, or level 1 would be 0, obviously, because it always has to be free. You know what I mean? Sure. You always have to have, so say level 1's 500 or like 2,000 rubles. Level 2 scav is like 5,000, and then level 4 is 10,000. You know what I mean? And then, as a level 4, you can get garbage still, but there is a chance of you getting like really nice kits also.
Absolutely. The coveted foul, 3M press armor, scav with like 2 or 3 mags and like a Wartech rig or something of that.
I think they're going to make them better. I think if they do it this way that we're thinking, I think scavs at level 4 are going to have some really nice loadouts every once in a while.
Oh, sure. If you're having to pay for it, especially, and I mean, I know you're saying like 5,000, 10,000, but I think that could go even higher. Like, say you pay 50,000, and who wouldn't potentially pay 50,000 for like a really, really nice kitted out scav? Because even if all you do is immediately leave with that scav, you're going to make a profit off that turnaround, but you still have to make it out.
And that's the thing, right? I like that your free raids are going to be these shitty PMs or these shitty scavs, and to get like the good raider or the good scavvy boys, you need to pay for them. So it's not just you being able to like go scavving in and out and looking for that good scav. I also don't want the Mosin scav to be level 0. Please don't let it be level 1 or whatever. Like, don't let it be the free one.
Sure. And they could even maybe at some point, maybe there's a level above 4, or maybe the level 4 scav could include being one of the raiders, to where you actually scavved in as one of the.
Ooh, that would be dirty. That would be dirty.
I think at some point it's gonna have to happen. I think that at some point they're gonna have to recognize that raiders need to be potentially on every map, and I think at some point in time you need to have the possibility of player scavs inside of.
Well, with this update comes the boss for Woods, and they're saying that they're going to have raiders with him. It's not just going to be him because he is a sniper. So it's going to be him plus a couple of raider boys next to him. But I think they have to look at, before last wipe, they did a thing where every map had raiders on it, right?
Yes.
And they must have gotten some sort of feedback from it being like, this was a lot of fun. People like this. You know, you got the chance to really get some good gear, even if it's 1 or 2 raiders randomly.
I heard nothing but positive feedback for the raiders on every map. And I have yet to hear anyone complain about it or a legitimate reason why they shouldn't be there. I think I heard one guy say that it didn't make sense for the raiders to be there, but you know, the raiders don't live inside of just the labs. They're people in Tarkov. These guys, these raiders, are other former PMCs that have gone rogue or been hired by Terror Group. So they're obviously a reason for them to be on the other maps too. So it covers the lore reason right out the gate.
Anything else you want to touch on? Anything else, like, you know, you want to touch on with this whole thing? Like, it's been 30 minutes. You know, I know you have stuff to do, but let's put a bow on this. Is there anything else that jumps out at you? Anything you were thinking about?
I think the thing that probably do need to cover quickly is being able to make our own ammunition in the hideout. I think that's really important.
You
I
do?
also
Why?
like
Why
that
do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I I just feel like the amount of ammo, either being able to just consistently buy whatever you want or having the ammo restrictions for the ammo that you do want, I think it's necessary right now, but I think it's kind of arbitrary. And I think at some point in time, you know, if I want to sit in my hideout and crank out 1,000 rounds of M61, I should be able to do that. If I have the resources for it, if I've collected all the stuff for M61 rounds, I shouldn't be limited to 200 every 3 hours other than having to barter or buy from other players. I think if I've gone to the trouble to collect the resources, then I should be able to do what I want with them. So making my own ammunition, I think, is going to be not just valuable for the person wanting to use it, but that could be somebody could want to just be, you know, an ammunition maker, and that's their job in Tarkov. They spend their time logged in making ammunition for people.
I was playing hardcore this wipe because I felt like I was getting kind of bored of just playing regular. And I felt like that was the way eventually we're going to be playing the game. And this makes sense in that hardcore sense. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to, because in hardcore mode, it's so hard to get good ammo. Like, when you find good ammo in hardcore mode, you're like, thank the Jesus. And it's so precious to you. So if you can make it too in your hideout, it would be so much better. And I think that's the way the game's eventually going to be played. And I really do feel like that's the way the game is supposed to be played, is hardcore mode style.
I would agree with you.
It made every run so intense. It made every firefight, even with scavs, intense. I loved every minute of it. The problem is when you go up against players that aren't hardcore, even if they're just like running some mediocre stuff, it's very hard sometimes.
Yeah, that element of really caring about what you're wearing, even if you know how to make money, still having that element of, you know, I'm invested in this because I spent X amount of resources, or I worked so many minutes or hours in the hideout to make all this ammo. It's going to help enhance the game, and it's also going to make people really stop and think about, what do I need to take into this raid? What must I take, and what can I do without for this next raid that I do?
Yeah. Anything else that jumps? Anything else that jumps here?
The kitchen, that's a little bit interesting. I don't know if there's going to be specific recipes or how that's going to work out. I don't think it's anything major. I think it's kind of a minor thing, but it is mentioned, and there are pictures of kind of like a cooking station. So that might prove an interesting aspect to look.
I think it's going to be minor right now. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be a couple of things, because they said, there's 19 places right now? Or there's over 13 of them in production right now.
Over the modules, right? Yeah. Over 13 modules.
Yeah, so there's 13 different ones of these. They're probably going to add some. I think there's going to be a couple that don't really matter. and there's a couple that are there for, they have the idea of what they're going to be used for later on, and it's going to really matter once they get to their finished Escape from Tarkov product.
Absolutely. The last thing I want to point out, and I know it's an old picture, but I know that there's a lot of other people out there like me that have been waiting for this. But
Yep.
there's a poster. There's a poster on the back of this one shelf that's got the scar. It's got a picture of the scar sitting there. And I know my Scar Brotherhood's out there. We're all waiting for it. Come on, Nikita. Give us the scar system, please.
I think Scar might be added, if not this patch, next patch.
I hope so. It really has kind of, it's been mentioned. They've said that it's coming. It's confirmed. Obviously, there's pictures of it, but it has literally kind of like not been talked about for at least a year. So I think about a year ago they said it was being worked on, and it's like, come on, we need that Scar 8.
My issue with new guns always being added nowadays, and again, I'm not the most veteran player, but it's sometimes shitty when they add guns. Like, they added the bullpup, and I was super excited, but it's like, what's the point when everyone's running an HK or M4? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, this is the ultimate gun.
I think there's a group of people. I don't know what the size or the majority of it is, but there's a lot of people that play the game just because of the different weapons, because of the modding skills, and there's so many people that I talk to that they just love to sit around and build guns, and the variety is there for those people. And so while nobody may, you know, the PM pistol isn't necessarily going to be a beast machine, but there are people out there that just enjoy the variety and want to build a collection. And I think the hideout is going to facilitate, hopefully, certain areas being able to show off your gun collection. And, you know, maybe you got a prize golden TT or something like that that you want to hang on the wall. So while the new guns may not always be the meta or the top killer gun out there that everybody wants, it's really nice to see the variety. But what I would like to say is, can we start having the guns release with actual mods rather than having to wait 3 or 4 months to get them? Because that'd be great.
I think that's something I don't think much about, right? Is non-meta, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, I don't even use the HK or the M4. They're not guns for me, but I just, in the back of my head, I know those are the best guns. But not everyone gives a shit about best. And like I always said this to people, is any gun can be deadly in anyone's hands. You know, you give Pestily, Anton, you, any decent gun, an AK, 74N, hell, even a Taz, they can wreck with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's all whoever's using it.
Absolutely.
So,
One of my favorite things to do is basically a naked run with just a shrimp and a couple mags. And it's so rewarding to go in like that and take down fully kitted, fully geared squads and come back out with their gear. And it's just like, guys, if I can do it, you can too. You just got to put the time and the effort in, because I'm not anybody special. I don't have like super shroud like reflexes or anything like that. It's just time invested and just a determination to try something until it works.
one last thing I want to talk about is, I forget what Reddit user it was, but someone on Reddit said how July 27th is their 2-year anniversary of the game coming out in beta, and that's when they thought that they're trying to shoot for this update. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because in my head, when I think of soon, I think of a month. I'm sorry, but when I hear like it's coming soon, or our trip is very soon, Christmas is soon, I'm thinking around a month. You know, not 2 months, a month. So that would kind of make sense.
Very well be. I could see them doing that as kind of a 2-year anniversary blowout. Maybe it doesn't release on that day, but maybe that's when they start doing the end of wipe events, and there's some additional stuff that goes on with that. But that could definitely, you know, be something that we could see.
Thank you so much, Rook, for your time. If people wanted to find you, where can they find you?
I stream every night on Twitch at rook_kale, or you can follow me on Twitter at Empire Rook.
So it's on the screen. Also, I'm going to have it in the description down below, guys. So please go click on him, give him an old follow, and tell him I say hello. I don't know. You know what I mean, guys. Anyways, guys, I also stream 5 days a week on twitch.tv. This is my YouTube channel. Please give it a subscribe. Think about giving this video a thumbs up. And I really want to know your guys' opinion on all this. Like, what did we miss, you guys? What did we miss? What do you guys want to see from it? And like I said, guys, go follow rook_kale, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you, nerds.